Okay, I just opened the pool. It is March 31st and tomorrow is April 1st, and I just took the cover off. We have had a few warm weeks, and so I thought that I might actually be behind schedule. I was afraid of what I might find in here because it has been pretty warm. So yeah, there's some buildup on the bottom of the pool. I have left the filter running every day for 4 hours, I think, the whole winter, and all I've done is added a couple of chlorine tablets, like maybe twice throughout the whole winter, and I've just left it covered, and this is what I've got. It's not as bad as I thought. It is a little, like, it's comfortable. It's not cold or warm to the touch right on top. As I stick my arm further down, it is still cool down there. That's what I got. And so tomorrow I am going to vacuum it out. I've changed this thing to waste. I've attached the blue hose and screwed this clamp on. It does still squirt a little bit of water out from under here because it's like wrinkled. It's not perfectly flat, so these wrinkles allow some water to come out right here, and it sprays a little bit. So hopefully the time that it takes me to vacuum tomorrow, it won't get too nasty out here, although it's already pretty nasty. But anyway, so I'm just running that hose out the back, and I'll probably vacuum it and drain it down to about halfway, and then fill it the rest of the way with fresh water, balance it, and see how it goes. So I just want to keep a video journal for myself on how I'm doing all of this for next year. Okay, so here it is after I've gotten it all ready to go. It's still pretty cloudy right now. We'll see what it looks like in the morning. I mean, I can see the bottom of the ladder. It's really not bad. It really is better than I thought it was going to be. So let's talk about what I did. I hooked the blue hose up to here, and put the vacuum attachment in here, hooked the vacuum to it. Of course, I had to dip the hose all the way down in the water to make sure there wasn't any air in the line. Dip that hose all the way down in the water, and then I hooked it to the hose adapter that goes in here, the vacuum adapter, okay? And then the hose was on here going out the back fence, not all the way to the pond, but just to that little dip between the fence and the sidewalk. And then I turned this to waste and turned it on, and then I hopped in there and I vacuumed. I put the ladder in an area that didn't have so much algae. The algae on the bottom was kind of more over in this area, maybe because it's warmer, I'm not sure. So I put the ladder in way over there, got in, ran over here, grabbed the vacuum, and I was able to vacuum about half of it until the water level got so low it started making noise, and I realized that it wasn't sucking, it wasn't vacuuming. So I had to stop, put the hose back in here, and let it fill up for a while. And then once it got full, I started again, but this time I left the hose running in the pool as I was vacuuming. So some water was coming in as other water was coming out. I vacuumed the whole pool. It did start making a little bit of noise again, but it never stopped sucking, so I just kept going. Next time I'll probably just make sure to fill the pool really high before I start. I would have liked to have vacuumed it a little bit more, a little bit longer, but I did get all of the visible algae. I think I did a pretty good job, like 90%, not 100%, but about 90%. Okay, so then after I vacuumed it all, I hopped out and I turned this back to closed. I disconnected the vacuum and everything, put the vacuum back over here, took all that stuff out, okay? Then after I vacuumed on waste, I did backwash, which I think is under here. Okay, with the hose still on, I did backwash, and what that did was that it just filtered backwards. So any gunk that was in here, which really would have been from last season, because I think the vacuuming it to waste, it didn't go through here. So anything left in here was from last year. But I turned it to backwash, and that blowed everything from here, all the gunk in the sand, it blowed it back out, that hose out there too. And it says to backwash until this little thing was clear, and it really was. It wasn't very dirty. That didn't take me not even probably a minute. It wasn't too bad. Okay, so then I stopped backwash, and I think at that point I took the hose off and put the cap back on. Then it said to do rinse for about 1 minute. Rinse just kind of settled all that sand back down in there. Once it's rinsed, you can put it back on filter. So I put my skimmer basket back in there and the little flapper thing. Oh, I also at some point cleaned out here. There was a little bit of grass in here. So what I did was this little cap and this little cap, you turn them lefty-loosey, because this was not full of water at that point. I guess when I was vacuuming and stuff and it was making noise, it wasn't full of water. There was some air in there. So you need to release those, which allow, and I think in doing that, I had to close this too. Clockwise, righty-tighty. I closed that, opened this, air came out, the water filled up, and until water kind of started spilling out, then you just close that with your fingers, then open this back up. Okay, so I did that, pulled the basket out, rinsed it, put it back in, closed all that back up. So now that's full of water, and now it's filtering. I'm gonna leave it filtering for, I think I put it on 11 hours. I added shock, a half packet of shock. I put a couple of chlorine tablets in the floater, and then I also went around the room with clarifier. I do not have algicide. I ordered algicide, and I'll do that tomorrow. And I know the lady said all that extra stuff isn't that important, but I just want to do it like once. I did do the dipstick and checked it out, and surprisingly, like, it was good. It only said it needed stabilizer, which, again, I don't think that's really necessary. Stabilizer is just to help your chlorine last longer. So it wanted stabilizer and it wanted shock. That was all it wanted. And then free chlorine, which is the floater stuff, as regular maintenance product. But everything was surprisingly well balanced. So hopefully running this for a long time, all the water will have a chance to filter through overnight, and hopefully my pool will be clear tomorrow. And even if it stays about like this, I'm not mad at it. I think this will be all right. Okay, so yesterday I opened the pool. I vacuumed everything off the bottom. I balanced it, filled it, and again, this is the same issue that I had at the end of last season. At the end of last season, I switched from just the regular Summer Waves filter with those paper cartridges. I upgraded to this expensive, awesome Intex sand filter, and ended up with cloudy water. And it looks like that is still the case. Just as I saw last season, the bottom of the pool is clean. I was able to vacuum everything out. Okay, so in between my last video and this video, before I shut everything down last season, I did have a pool lady come out and showed her the bottom of the pool and what was happening with the pump, making everything cloudy. She told me it's really not a big problem, that my water was fine. I didn't need to worry. She said what had probably happened was that I had shocked it too much, and what I had accumulating on the bottom, not like in the middle, the algae that I had talked about before, but black, just spots of it. She said it was called shock dust, because I was trying so hard to clear it. I was shocking, and she said that I shouldn't have been doing that, and what was now accumulating at the bottom was called shock dust. And so she said, don't worry about it, your pool's really not that bad. And she said exactly what we did yesterday. She said once you're able to vacuum it out, I don't know if I said on the video or not, but at first I tried to vacuum all that out to waste. Well, my waste shoots right onto my house. And so that's why I got that blue hose. She said once you hook up the blue hose and vacuum it out to waste, that should get all the gunk out of your water, and then you would only be left with clear water, which is what I did yesterday. And unfortunately, here we are back with a pretty much clean bottom of the pool, but still cloudy water. Looking at the bottom of the ladder there, it does look better than it did last year. I think on my last video at the end of last season, I really couldn't even see the bottom of the ladder. Now I can see it, but my water is still kind of dingy. Since the last video, I told y'all that I hadn't gotten stabilizer yet. I did get stabilizer and algicide. So now this pool has had shock, stabilizer, chlorine, clarifier, and algicide. All those things. And it has run through the filter for 11 hours. So this is what I'm left with at this point. I'll let it run another 11 hours. I don't really want to do anything else with the chemicals yet. Give it some more time to do what it needs to do. But I will run it for another 11, 12 hours today, and hopefully all of this water will get clean and clear. What's going on? If anybody knows what's going on, tell me.